Jussie Smollett is an actor, and he reported a crime to Chicago police that has got people a little bit puzzled. So it's been a source of great controversy, and I want to break it down for you guys. First, in case you didn't hear, I want to give you the original story as Smollett reported to the police. I want to give you the updates and then talk about what the media should do, okay? So I'm going to go to CNN here. Smollett told authorities he was attacked early January 29th by two men who were yelling out racial and homophobic slurs. He said one attacker put a rope around his neck and poured an unknown chemical substance on him. He went on to say police were told two men yelled empire and then the F word that is derogatory towards the gay community and empire N-word while striking him. Now, he does work on the show Empire and he is a member of the LGBT community. So I have to confess that I was initially skeptical about this story. I have not reported it at all here on the Young Turks. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't do any video about it. So if you ask me why you're skeptical, that's actually a fair question because a guy comes out and says some terrible thing that happened to him, and there's under normal circumstances no reason to disbelieve him, and it is of course very insulting not to believe him. So I didn't come out and say, hey, right out of the gate, I don't believe him because I didn't have the evidence to back that. But for a person who's a bit of a celebrity to get all of these things happen at once, they brought the bleach, they brought the noose, they talked about your identity as part of the LGBT community and the fact that you're black, and they happen to run into you and know that you work on the show Empire, or maybe they stalked you, I don't know. But it seemed, look, it seemed less likely than many other stories we've covered. And because we've covered dozens and dozens of stories of this actually happening to people, we have some sense of how real people react and racists react, etc. And they'll say vicious things, they'll say terrible things, they'll say random things, weird things, right? But to put all of that in one stew, it just seemed a little too convenient. Now, it's not over, and everybody's saying it's over and Smollett lied. That's not really the case, as I'll show you right now. And for my colleagues that covered it, and for everybody else in the media that covered it, let me ask you guys, what are they supposed to do? If you watch our video on Smollett the first day, there's Anna saying over and over again, we don't yet know. There is, the cops are investigating. We don't have a lot of evidence. So I think that's as responsible as you can be. It's an amazing, interesting story, but what does the right wing want people to do? Oh, an actor comes out who says he's been the victim of a vicious anti-gay, anti-black attack. What are we just supposed to say? I don't believe you, I don't believe you. Well, hold on, let's see what's going on first, right? And people reported as, no, it definitely happened, and we know for sure that it happened. No, they said, this is what he reported, and this is what the cops are saying. And in fact, Robin Roberts from ABC interviewed him. I'm gonna get to her in a little bit and her explanation of the timeline of her interview and the general media reaction. So now let me give you the updates on the story and why now more people are skeptical. CNN explains, two law enforcement sources with knowledge of the investigation tell CNN that Chicago police believe actor Jussie Smollett paid two men to orchestrate an assault on him that he reported late last month. Now, it's two law enforcement sources anonymously telling reporters. The cops have not even yet come out and said that that's what happened. But is that relevant? Of course it's relevant. That's why I reported to you today. And by the way, that story might turn out to be not exactly right. And in fact, I have some important caveats on it in a second. Then I'd have to come out and say, well, it turns out that story wasn't exactly right. And I'm giving you the caveats today. You have to cover the news of today, not the news that's gonna come out 2 weeks from now, okay? So let me give you more of what people are concerned about. One of the men has appeared on Empire. Guglielmi said, a police source also told CNN on Friday night that the men, the two men that have been arrested, and I'll get to what happened with them in a second, that the men had a previous affiliation with Smollett, but did not provide additional details. So what the cops did, and this is good work on their part, is they got the rope that Smollett turned in and they figured out where it was purchased. Hey, that's great detective work. And they found the two guys who were buying it. And then it turns out, according to these inside sources, the cops have not officially said this yet, that those guys happen to know Smollett. Well, that's obviously very curious. Now, it might turn out that they know him and they hate him and they wanted to attack him. So you go and talk to them, right? But we don't know yet. So now here comes another twist to the story. But by Friday night, remember the guys are arrested on Wednesday, okay? They're questioned and they're considered suspects. But by Friday night, they had been released due to new evidence as a result of today's investigations. So that's the spokesperson for the Chicago Police Department. So why are the guys who might have coordinated with Smollett have now been released because of new information? Does that mean Smollett is right? I don't know, because today is Monday and this is the only evidence we have today. Okay, and last one here, and that along those lines, say detectives have additional investigative work to complete. So everybody hold on, but nobody's holding on. So in the beginning, some people were convinced 100% that it happened. Others were being responsible with the story, saying this is what Smollett says, this is what the cops say, right? And now the conservative media has done the exact opposite. And they're like, it definitely didn't happen. We know it for sure. Everybody has to apologize. Everybody has to apologize. Wait a minute, the Chicago police didn't even come out with a statement yet. We don't know why the guys were released. We don't know if they know Smollett for sure, and if they know him, whether they like him or they hate him. So just hold on for a second and let's figure out what happened. And the cops are saying we have to do additional investigative work. But nobody ever wants to hold on, including conservatives who are going around right now saying, I don't care about the rest of the facts. You have to tell my side of the story right now. Okay, no deal. No, we don't agree, okay? Now, let me get to Smollett's side of here, because he's very angry that people are questioning him. So this is through his lawyers. He says, they say, as a victim of hate crime who has cooperated with the police investigation, Jussie Smollett is angered and devastated by the recent reports that the perpetrators are individuals he is familiar with. He has now been further victimized by claims attributed to these alleged perpetrators that Jussie played a role in his own attack. Nothing is further from the truth, and anyone claiming otherwise is lying, okay? One other important part that should be noted, Smollett claimed that they said, this is MAGA country. That's another thing that I gotta be honest with you, made me skeptical. There's just something about it that triggers my spidey senses, but I might be wrong. And it might be that Smollett's totally telling the truth, and a further investigation will prove that out. But right now we don't know. So to me, the most interesting part of the story is how's the media handling it, and how should they handle it? So Robin Roberts did the interview with him where he explained his side of the story. Now people are demanding that she apologize. That makes no sense at all. I want to give you what she said about the interview, and then we'll discuss.
When I sat down with Jussie, it was Tuesday night in Chicago at the time to give his first account, publicly give his first account of what he said happened. And we have to remember, at that time on Tuesday, police officers were saying that his account was consistent, it was credible, and that he was being cooperative. Now, this was all before the interview aired on Thursday, and then we found out about the brothers.
So that's incredibly fair. At that point, when they're conducting the interview on Tuesday, they don't even know the brothers have been arrested. How is she supposed to ask questions she has no knowledge of, that no one has any knowledge of, because the arrest hasn't even happened yet? Oh no, that shows she's a liberal. No, it doesn't. It shows that she was doing her job and asking questions based on the evidence that she had, based on the statements, not from just Smollett, but the cops at the time. Now, why are conservatives demanding that all of the media is wrong and that you should never cover stories like this? Because 99 out of 100 times, it is true. And you go back and look at our coverage of other stories, and you will see that yes, there's been beatings, there's been reference to MAGA, there's been nooses. Rarely are they all together in one convenient batch, but they happen all the time, nonstop. There's a story in the news today about how a woman in Playa Vista here in Los Angeles is screaming outrageously racist things at Latinos in her neighborhood. So all this stuff happens all the time. So what the conservatives want to do, and this is their trick, is no, just in case any of them turn out to be not true many weeks later, you should never talk about all the real cases of racism. No deal. No deal at all. So to me, this does not prove any sort of huge problem with the media. Oh my God, that's why you can't trust them. Second of all, think about it, guys. If it was part of a liberal media plot to do fake news, why would they turn around? I just quoted you CNN. You can go on media anywhere right now, and they'll tell you that the Smollett attack is being questioned right now. So why would they all of a sudden change their conspiracy? Why not stick with the original conspiracy? Think about how crazy that is. That you think every media organization, on every story decides to do a conspiracy, to do they're like Smollett, okay, that he says that, we all know it's not true. How would they know it's not true? We all know it's not true, but that's all right. Let's all get together in a conspiracy and decide that we're gonna say the Smollett story is true. But if that's the case and you believe that, and you're insane in my opinion, but if you believe that, why did they now turn around and say it might not be true? Could it be that they're actually working with the best information they have at the time? Wow, revolutionary thought. The reason conservatives try to bully the media into not covering any of these stories, including this one, is because the overwhelming majority of the time it is true, and they are unfortunately embarrassed by it. So look, if there's a story about racism, I don't think, don't cover it because I'm not a racist. But if you are a racist, you don't want any story about racism ever being covered. That's the real trick behind the conservative bullying on this particular story. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.